We are coming on the air at this hour with breaking news. President Biden has just announced that he is ending his re-election bid.
Some stuff that I want to get your take on. I want to talk about real stuff. I want to talk about conspiracy stuff.
Joe Biden didn't step aside because it was right for the country. Nobody's seen Joe Biden in public since Wednesday.
Who's in charge? Who signed off on that?
He's still a sitting president.
Do you think that he did it himself, or do you think they did it for him?
Who gave the green light to say, hey, it's open season on Biden?
Weird.
I got the COVID.
Yeah.
We don't even know if he's alive.
There was a tweet, right?
It was a letter crafted and then also published on Twitter.
Do you believe that he penned that, or do you think it was written for him?
These are all just interchangeable parts.
This is just two heads of the same snake.
All right.
30, dude. Big one.
30. We've turned 30.
Big 3-0.
There's nothing special about 30. It's just 30.
Yeah, 30 right. Something.
25 sounded cool. 50 is going to sound cool.
52 will be cool because that's a year's worth of...
Sure. Yeah, 52.
Can you believe that, dude?
No.
A year.
Not yet. We're so far from there.
I know we're far. Well, we're over the halfway mark.
We are. It's another goddamn motherfucking telemarketer.
Downhill.
Downhill. Episode 30.
Episode 30. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Man, it seems like forever ago that we did last show because shit just never stops being monumental in the news.
7 days.
Yeah, 7 days, right?
Ton of shit.
Oh, I mean, where do you want to start?
I have some stuff that I want to get your take on. So the assassination attempt, obviously.
Okay.
All the stuff.
Talking about some follow-up with that?
Yeah, so, I mean, I want to talk about real stuff. I want to talk about conspiracy stuff. I want to talk about different vantage points, different rebuttals, everything that's kind of come up with that.
Okay.
I have tons of stuff, so I don't know you do too.
I don't have a ton on that just because I was kind of following all week long the drama of is he or isn't he going to drop out of the race?
Yeah.
And then, of course,
we can follow up with that. I mean, I guess we don't have to hit the assassination stuff.
No, we can hit because it's valid, but it's crazy to think that that's old news now.
Yeah.
Even
in
though
7 days.
Even though Cheadle, the head of the Secret Service, is testifying before Congress today.
Yeah.
Or a Senate hearing, whatever it is, but she's testifying, subpoenaed to testify. So, but it seems like forever ago.
I thought she already did that. Was that different?
This morning.
Oh, I was watching all that stuff from it. I guess it was highlights from today. Well, let's talk about that then.
All right.
So she talks about, obviously, she's been cited as saying that she wouldn't have done anything different, that everything was done to protocol. They're grilling her, asking her questions. She obviously bumbled some stuff about the slope roof.
Did she mention that, like, did anybody ask her, like, what the fuck is with the sloped roof?
I only saw a couple snippets, and like I said, I didn't know it was live this morning, or I would have actually tried to tune in because I think that's kind of comical, but she's been cited as having said that they didn't put snipers on that roof, even though it's line of sight, because she was worried about the slope, right? Safety issues with the slope. She's quoted as saying that. I haven't seen the quote. I haven't seen her say that, but that's what everybody says, right? And they show the...
No, I saw her say it.
They show the roof that the counter snipers were actually on, and it's a greater pitch than what the original roof was.
There's hardly any pitch on the roof that the shooter is on. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's nothing.
So I just know that there was a couple representatives. I saw them interviewing her, or clips of them interviewing her, and she's... one of the guys put it best is they talk about because he asked, where does the accountability lie? Who's in charge? Who signed off on that security program? Who's in charge? And she basically deflects and says, well, there's layers. There's layers to all this, like there is to everything. There's different layers of accountability. And he said, that's bullshit. Like, that means there's no accountability. He's like, all these layers do is create plausible levels of plausible deniability so that it's nobody's fault. You guys sit and talk about how, everybody has a piece of accountability in this, but then nobody knows how to point the finger at who's ultimately responsible.
She did, to her credit, take full responsibility. She said, it is my
she did the
responsibility.
P. Diddy full responsibility.
No, you're right. But I'm saying she didn't say that, like, I'm not responsible. It was so-and-so. And
sure.
So she did ultimately take responsibility. But like you said, when you have that many layers of responsibility, who is ultimately responsible? Who's the mission commander, so to speak?
And I don't have the representative's name, the gentleman that was doing it, but he had said that this isn't the first time it's been like this. He's like, that seems to be the way of the Secret Service, the FBI, the CIA.
They've had problems for a while.
Yeah, it's always layers so that nobody can actually get.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
think about it. Like,
it's not stupid.
And honestly, does anybody in Washington ever get in trouble for anything ever?
Only Trump.
I mean,
so far,
dude,
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of different angles you can take on a lot of the stuff, but if you just want to stick with the actual incident, that's probably best.
Yeah.
So I mean, kind of following up on what the question she was being asked, Representative Nancy Meade fucking hammered her.
Yeah.
Like, kind of threw decorum to the side and said, "You're full of shit. Like, either you're full of shit or you're lying." Like, which is like,
Yeah.
like. Even the people like, hey, we got to maintain some semblance of decency in here. Because she was calling it, she's like, you're full of shit.
And I've seen a couple people, it's like they were frustrated because every time they'd ask a question, she did the typical politician
She's
move,
a trained
and she would
politician,
deflect, and it would be about something else. And I think there was multiple representatives that were like, you've sat here this entire time, you haven't answered a single question, but you've been able to deflect it to everybody else. Like, if you're assuming full responsibility, and that's kind of what they said is, if you're assuming full responsibility, how are you not answering any of these questions? And everything was like, well, it depends. I mean, and this part I get, man. Like, I have to check and wait and see what the investigation yields, right? Because we all know that when something's an investigation, you can't divulge certain information
To a certain extent.
and there's certain things that you're not privy to yet until it all comes back.
To a certain extent, to your point, it would be irresponsible for her to come out and start laying people away and this and that when you just don't. Those things take a while. If you've worked in government in any capacity, even low-level bureaucracy, you know these things take a while. It does not happen overnight, and it's been a week.
Yeah.
A week and a couple days now. That's it. So, yeah, I don't expect much to happen right now. They need to keep on her about this.
The fear is it's going to be like the Epstein thing where all of a sudden it's a big deal and then
it's going to go away.
It's replaced by whatever the latest news is.
Because now we got bigger shit already because the Biden takeover. Like that's already pushing this to the back burner.
So before we get to that,
no, keep going.
Because I do want to talk about that. Let's with all the data that's come out in the last 7 days, 6 days, what is your take on the shooter situation? Where are you at with that?
The actual shooter himself?
I think the whole situation. Are you still a firm believer of one gunman, FBI, Secret Service, all the agencies involved, local authorities, everybody? It was just the perfect debacle on every level, that it's just one gunman, security sucked, that whole deal.
I get what you're saying. So
you still believe it's all just face value? It is what it was reported.
I very rarely will say just firmly, this is what it is, no matter what. Flat Earth, I'm firm on that one. But everything else,
you always bring that up.
Well, because that's pretty much the only thing that I'm saying. Like, this is it. I'm done. This is my opinion forever.
Yeah.
But with this, like, I believe that at the time, and I still do to a certain extent, but you have to allow some wiggle room, right?
Yeah.
Because if you just say no, then you're not looking at any possibilities, right?
Sure.
So I kind of stand by what I said. Yeah, I mean, tell me something different.
Well, I've just seen multiple things, and again, a lot of this I have to take at the reporter's value or the person who's posting its value, because I haven't done enough of my own. I don't have the time or the bandwidth to actually dive into some of these at the level of what they're saying they did. Mm-hmm. But so we'll start at the top. So there's audio forensic evidence. Have you seen the breakdown of that? I figured you would have.
Of the audio forensic?
Of the gunshots.
Oh, no.
So there's somebody named Catalin Grigoris. She's the director, or he, I don't know, director of the National Center for Media Forensics at the University of Colorado in Denver.
Okay.
And there's a guy named Cole Whitecotton, who's a senior professional research associate at the same institute. And I think this video is him. Mm-hmm. Let me give the breakdown first. So they analyze, so this is from the Professional National Center of Media Forensics, right? Mm-hmm. They analyze the audio of the gunshots from two different video takes, and then they align it, and they basically break down the forensics of this, and it goes from the shot to the clap to, you know, the audio sound to the echo of the shot, and they basically break it down. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty interesting. This is kind of where I started my diving off point, because there's been the idea, just looking into the conspiracy side of it, or the critical thinking side of it, or, you know, is the possibility for multiple shooters, which we'll get into in a second. But this I thought was very interesting, and I'm wondering if you had seen this.
No, let it rip.
This is the 5 that make a very distinct sound. Here's one with a very different crack in it. That's the 6th shot in the
I know
string.
what he's talking
and then
about,
here
the
we
6th
have
one.
the final last one, which I think is the sniper weapon, which is probably the one that put the bullet just over the left eye of Crooks on the roof. So we're going to take a closer look at the blue, the red, the blacks here, and listen to these things. But once again, let's just listen very carefully.
Not
and we'll
great
go back
for,
and forth until you're certain of
audio
this yourself.
only. Go to YouTube and watch.
audio pieces.
Yeah, so this
are
gentleman
exactly
basically has the
pulled straight
waveforms
from
of the sound from
video
two
itself.
different things, and he
Nothing
matches
else.
them
I
up.
haven't boosted any. I haven't done any filtering. Raw files, okay? Here's 1, 2, and 3 to start. Okay, listen to that again. Now let's listen to the next string. Ooh. Yeah. Hear that? So 6 sounds different to me, but here's an interesting thing. 1, 2, and 3, besides being muffled and further away, it doesn't have echoes. There we go. So this here is a shot. This is an echo. Very clear.
So he shows the
echo,
waveform.
a shot in an
long
echo,
line
and a
in the
shot
waveform
in
is
an
the
echo.
shot.
So
The
this
echo is a smaller
actually
line
critical
after it.
evidence.
All the
Okay,
first
hear
3
that.
shots.
Just pause this, Adam.
So all the first 3 shots have the same waveform of the shot,
Yeah.
and then the echo, and then the shot and the echo.
So yeah, kind of paraphrase what this guy's talking about for me.
So basically, what he goes in to say is he breaks down this waveform, and there's a couple other portions to this. Is 1, 2, and 3 all fired from crooks. 4 and 5, based on their forensic evidence, don't have the same shot and echo. And when they try to line up the waveforms, they actually appear to be off timing as if they were from a different distance. And so what he said from a forensic level is that they evaluate that that's from a further distance. And so the last shot, the 6th shot, is obviously what they estimate is the counter sniper shot, right? And so back to the Kimberly Cheadle thing, they were grilling her in that Senate hearing saying, how many shots did Secret Service fire? And she reportedly said they only fired the one that killed Crooks. And so that would be shot 6. So he goes on to say, at a very minimum, there's 2 shooters at the time of the shots being towards, and they base that on the audio wave and the sound and the echo. Those are 2 different shooters coming towards Trump, not going back away.
So based on like what I initially hear, when you hear that first volley, 3 or 4 shots, whatever it is, you assume that's Crooks, the shooter.
Yeah.
And then the second volley, you assume that's from the sniper team.
That's what you would assume.
And then I hear another crack, which I had always thought that maybe a second sniper team, or like, because it does sound different.
Yeah.
Or I thought maybe local law enforcement or something had a different shot at him.
Yeah.
That's what I assumed.
So he goes on to say that 4 and 5, or even those successive, the next 5 rounds, he said those are actually the way that they have broken it down. And again, this is just from his forensics deal. And he even goes on to say, like, this is how we break it down. Could we be off? Maybe, but like, this seems pretty accurate to us, is that those shots were inbound, it towards the direction, the same as from Crooks, but they were from a greater distance away because of the waveforms and there's no echo. So they were shot from a different location completely, but they were still inbound. So I found this and I started doing this dive on, okay, what is out there from the conspiracy side of multiple shooter theory, right? And so you have eyewitness accounts, multiple people that were there at the event that say they saw other shooters. One person goes on to say they were behind the red farming equipment or whatever that red tractor was. There's multiple people that give reports to the press at the time that it happened that said there was somebody on the water tower. I don't know if you've seen the video.
I saw that.
So that video, the video that I saw, and again, I'm open to the possibility of, right? I don't think it's gospel, but they show the video of this, and it's like the Bigfoot video. It's super grainy. You can't really tell.
Well, it's because everyone's got cell phone
But it
footage.
looks like, and it's super zoomed in, right? But it looks like there's a dark shadower figure next to it, and then it moves out, and then it kind of disappears. And my first thought was, it could easily be a tree, right? It could be the top of a tree blown in the wind or whatever, or it could be Secret Service sniper, or it could be whatever. So the crazy thing about the water tower, though, is there's people that say they saw somebody zip line.
That was debunked, total bullshit. Like,
Oh, it was debunked. Okay.
That doesn't even make sense.
Okay.
Like,
I didn't think it did either. You're going to take the time to set up a zip line?
and like, dude, there's somebody like that guy that posted that. Apparently, a Twitter account doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm just saying, like, this is kind of where this rabbit hole led me. But then there was another guy who said he's with the NSA, and there's people within the NSA that are, trying to do good things, and that they actually have footage or eyewitness accounts of the person that was on the water tower coming down, whether it's zip line or rappel, and getting into a black SUV, FBI, and then taking off. And so I thought, okay, well, that makes sense that that would be either Secret Service or FBI. Maybe they'd have somebody stationed on the water tower. That would make sense. So there's just all these different things just about these different shooters. Obviously, the water tower shooter, eyewitness accounts. But then I went on to find a 3D model, and Adam, this is under Solo Gunman. So then there's somebody who does the 3D model. And I think this was like a day after, but they do a 3D rendering digitally of where all the shots allegedly,
I saw something like that,
allegedly came from. And it basically supports the Solo Gunman theory. So I was trying to look at both sides, right? And so watch this. And this is a 3D model.
Focus in on.
Who made this?
I can't remember the name. It's
Here you can see the 3
something
victims
like
that were injured by
AZG
gunfire
Industrial
and where
or
they were
some-
standing in the bleachers. We're going to turn around and demonstrate exactly where these bullets came from. This model represents Thomas Crooks. His position can be seen here in this image, which illustrates exactly where he was.
Man, that's a tough slope on that roof.
Turning around, we can see the
Fucking
path of
almost
all
flat.
the bullets that were fired from this location. I placed a 10-foot red disc downrange to represent what an average shooter could hit easily. Now let's take a look at this first shot fired. Coming from our key location, bullet 1 grazes President Trump's ear. This is the same bullet that hits a spectator in the stands. We know this through video evidence. As President Trump is talking, the first shot rings out just after he says,
So it
"Take a
shows,
look at
now
what
it shows a
happened."
picture of him.
Something that said, take a look what happened.
We can see the vapor trail of a bullet strike,
me pause
which
it.
is the same bullet that struck
So she calls this a vapor trail, right? But also those bullets hit the hydraulic line of that lift that's right there. So I don't necessarily know that that's a vapor trail or if that's the initial spray from that hydraulic fluid, because she goes on to show the hydraulics.
Man, it'll be really tough with, I mean, it's not the greatest
Right.
footage.
Trump's ear a split second earlier, and this video is this location here. Back at the podium, President Trump is shot and grabs his ear, falling to the ground as more shots rang out. In total, there were 7 or 8 shots, so let's rewind and watch this at regular speed.
Take a look at what happened.
What are we doing? What are we
With all
doing in
that
the
gunfire,
background?
it's easy to understand how these spectators were injured, even though they were not the target, including the sole spectator who lost his life that day.
See, and I was appreciative of this diagram because I didn't know where everybody was sitting that was hit and how the
Yeah.
victims were
As we
hit.
circle around, we can see how all the paths of the bullets were hitting in the location of this forklift machine, causing one of the hydraulic hoses to burst.
See, there's the spray from it there. So it almost looks like that's what that initial was.
This is the area we're going to focus in on.
You're good. So this supports the lone gunman theory of, you know, these are where the bullets came from and where they were at. What I thought was interesting is, as I kept digging, and I don't know if I linked this one in there or not, but there are people that, or not people, but someone had said, and this theory kind of ran, is the building he was on, and we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about it on the show because so much came out afterwards, but the building he was in, they had police reserves or Secret Service reserves in the building he was on.
Yeah.
And as early as 2 to 3 hours prior, they actually had taken pictures of him, seeing him pacing by the window, and they notified him as a person of interest or somebody suspicious.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And when they went to look for him, obviously they couldn't find him because he was on the roof, right? So watching that and looking at the trajectory of the bullet. So Greg Reese, he's one of Alex Jones's guys, right? He does Reese reports. He goes on to link some. I linked it in here, but he goes on to break it down even further about how there's some people that believe that 2 or 3 of those shots came from inside that building where those officers or Secret Service or whoever were housed.
Yeah.
And the ones that he says are the vantage point that Crooks had would obviously be a downward trajectory angle, right, from the distance to where he was trying to hit. And if you looked at after Trump dropped, those ones that fired down low, they were all level along that plane. So he was saying that doesn't make sense. And he does a sound analysis, the forensic analysis of the sound waves of the shots as well. And he uses some of the other information that they have from a different source. And he marches it out and says that at minimum there's 2, probably 3 different gunmen. So that whole theory was kind of along it. But he goes along the lines of saying that, look back in U.S. history, like there's pretty much always been this lone gunman attempt. And there's a bunch of different incidences where it's been multiple gunmen, or the theory of multiple gunmen has been a long-standing deal in U.S. history.
Yeah. The thing that bothers me is the so much quote unquote eyewitness testimony is just notoriously unreliable.
Yeah.
Like they don't even use that a ton in like homicide cases anymore. It's just incredibly unreliable. People don't remember anywhere near what they think they do. They make things up. They omit other details. They just don't remember.
Yeah.
Especially when something chaotic like that. It's just, I don't want to say impossible, but it's near impossible for somebody to remember something accurately like that.
You need Ring cameras everywhere now.
Well, and the good thing is we do have a ton of camera footage,
Yeah.
right? That is the good thing about this. Like, you get all the audio. The news was there. This wasn't just something that happened in a dark alley.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of, digital forensic evidence, so to speak. So that's pretty cool with the breakdown of the shot analysis.
Yeah, I
the
thought it was
audio
really neat.
waves. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That's something to, like, I guess, follow up on.
Yeah.
My only worry is that it's just going to be gone.
Yeah.
It's especially with the election cycle the way it is right now. It's just,
Are you ever going to know the truth?
are
'Cause
you
there's
ever going to know?
yeah.
It's because it's just on to the next thing. Like, the dude was shot a week ago, and honestly, it's old news.
I know.
Which is insane to
Which
say
is
that.
nuts.
Yeah. I mean, any other time in history, that's groundbreaking, that's earth shattering. But now it's just Tuesday.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on to the next. What else you got?
The crazy thing too is there's a guy from a video. He has a site called Killer Bee Tactical, and I linked the video. But he basically goes on to say that
Killer Bee?
Yeah. So he goes on to
They
say
killed Killer Bee?
Killer Bee. He goes on to say that all this talk. So he talks about how, and we had talked about this was debunked last show, was the guy who was allegedly the sniper, and he was on 4chan. He said, I was the one who was ordered, I was asking to be able to take the shot. So this guy goes on, and he's got some tactical background. I'm not sure exactly what his title is, but he goes on to say that he breaks it down like the court case that all cops are held liable to when there's a shooting. It's grand versus somebody, but he says there's no such thing as waiting for a green light in those situations. Like, you're a grown man, you're on your training.
Well, you
It's
have
up to you to
have
take
rules of engagement.
You have rules of engagement, but you have the right to take the shot.
Yeah.
And he goes through and breaks down the legal precedents that they have. So he's like, the fact that they're radioing saying they have the shot or they have to take the shot. And again, I don't know.
I don't believe
I don't know
that
what
to
the
be-
protocol is for that specific incident, but I linked it, and so we can put it in there. But it was just interesting to watch him break it down, like the legal precedents that police officers have and the ability they have to make the shot. And then they're held to, a panel of their peers afterwards of, would you do the same in this scenario? And you can't, and I guess he was saying too, like this court case, like they don't take hindsight into example. They say, hey, you're in this situation, you have your training. Would you do the same thing? That's basically what it all comes down to.
That's what you break it down simply. The rules of engagement. They are the rules in which you're cleared to engage.
But we
target.
don't know what the protocol was for that.
You don't,
event.
but it should be pretty well known. I mean, like, go back from my own experience. When you go to war, here is your rules of engagement. You are clear to kill somebody under these circumstances.
Right.
They make it very clear to you when you're allowed to do this. You don't wait for a green light. You have the green light. It's in your ROE there, and they are using your judgment. Then you go to something further, which everyone was so butthurt about this, about the FBI basically had their rules of engagement when they went to Mar-a-Lago, when they were allowed to kill somebody.
Yeah.
You don't start an operation like that where there could
without
potentially
defining everything.
be hostile actors without defining when you are allowed to engage with somebody. And I would imagine the Secret Service has the exact same thing. They don't need, I have the shot, can I take it? Like, no, are they going to shoot the president?
Right.
Fucking shoot
Does he
him.
have a gun?
Yeah.
Shoot him.
That's your ROE right there. That makes total sense.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. I linked that just because that's an actual legal precedence, like, of the law, and he breaks it down. It was pretty good because there's a lot of people that will argue that, the thought is this sniper had him in his sights and was worried about it, but he was waiting for the green light, and they made him hold, and that whole narrative was
Again,
destroyed.
it's all depending on what his rules of engagement are.
Right.
If you're told to wait till they take a shot, that's something.
Yeah.
If they're saying, hey, he brandishes a weapon, then you're allowed to take a shot. I mean, it all depends on when he is allowed to shoot. He doesn't have to wait for a green light. He's got the green light. He knows what it is in his head.
Yeah. So in addition to that, there was Adam, you can hit the last one on that one. The security. Did you see the whistleblower? Security detail whistleblower wrote the letter.
Maybe.
So this whistleblower wrote a full letter. It's on the next page, but he alleges that most of the Secret Service detail, they were Homeland. They had been replaced with Homeland. They weren't Secret Service, and so. To go back to what you said, like, I had a big issue watching this thing, the way it went down. You get the what are we doing chick in the background. She can't holster her weapon. There's another chick that she looks around and realizes after the shooting that everybody has glasses on and she doesn't. So she stops to put on her glasses and then kind of goes about her business. You have, what I was upset about is this group of quote unquote Secret Service that are forming this barrier around him, but they're not ushering him off the stage or letting him throw his fist. Like, there's things that I thought were weird, and you had said, and I was like, absolutely not. That's not okay. And
Yeah.
you had said, hey, they weren't, maybe they weren't trained, or maybe they never had this happen before. And I was like, so what? Right. Well, this would make sense if it's not the people that go through the training of the Secret Service, the standard training, and it was Homeland, and they don't necessarily train for this incident, and now this incident happens. That to me makes sense. And I don't know if it's legit. It's a whistleblower claim.
Yeah.
But that would make sense to me.
I mean, Secret Service is under the umbrella of Homeland, which are a lot of agencies. But yeah, they pulled people from a local Pittsburgh office. And again, that Secret Service, you might have been protecting, who knows, the mayor's cousin's daughter. Like, I mean, that could have been your
SEALs
detail.
are a division of the Navy, and not everybody on a boat's trained to do what they do. I mean, the training is different, I would imagine.
Who are we to say?
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah,
I have
my whole point is
zero
that whole
knowledge about
thing,
it.
that whole thing just looked like people that didn't have, not even necessarily training, but they didn't have experience. Because those, in my mind, are two different things.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Yeah. Dude. So basically, more on the shooting, like 26 seconds after he fired his first shot, he was down.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like a long time, but in the moment, it's an
It's gotta
eternity.
feel like forever.
26 seconds. Yeah. So he had hinted at a plan on a gaming platform. It might have been Twitch at the time, saying I'm about to make my debut or something like that. Some weird shit. There's a lot of things going around about him being a transgender.
Man. Yeah.
That got debunked.
How, it got debunked?
Yeah. Although that picture looked identical.
I don't know, man. I think it's funny.
It got debunked.
Well, I think it's funny that the picture was him with long hair, lip piercings, looking, very feminine. The picture they show on the news.
But he had long hair. Yeah.
Short hair, clean cut, all, and then the picture that they show of him being dead,
He has long
on
hair.
the Connex or on that building, he's got super long hair and he had studs in his lips.
Well, it's kind
He
of
had those studs in his lips.
It's kind of like the guy that just, murders your neighbor. Or no, your neighbor kills the guy because he broke into his house. And then they show the picture on the news. It's his high school photo.
Yeah,
Like he's
it's a
freshman
glamour
photo.
shot by Deb.
He looks so innocent. Like, no, he just broke into a house and tried to kill somebody.
Yeah.
That's why he's
They
dead.
don't show the methed out picture of him.
Yeah. I think it's kind of that version.
But
Because
look, here's the picture they had of, and this might have even been the one they took of the suspicious person. And he's got long hair there, but everything they show of him other than that is the short hair, clean cut.
that's the BlackRock video of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. Dead on the. I didn't see the studs, but dead on the roof. He had long hair for sure. Like,
Just interesting though that, I feel like a lot of other incidents, and maybe it's just because I'm looking for it, but somebody commits a crime and like they air out everything about them. They air out all the dirty laundry, but this topic specifically, like a lot of these shooters, like they'll talk about the shooting, but they don't talk about the transgender part. And I don't know if that's because they're not 100% positive. I don't know because if it's not popular in the media. I don't know if they don't want to be canceled on, they can't have their videos played on YouTube. I don't know.
I think it has, all of those could play a small part into it. But if you think about this, think about like when everybody started calling it the China virus and stuff like that. Chinese people were getting stomped in the street. After 9/11, people that just look like they're from the Middle East, even if they were Sikh, they were getting beat in the streets. Like a Sikh guy got killed here in Phoenix after 9/11. So maybe,
you think it could possibly be to protect?
Possibly, but when you're reporting the news, you're reporting the news. But to what extent are you trying to like, hey, let's not cause outrage? Because that's out there. That's a real thing.
Sure.
Like if people hear it's a trans person, next thing you know, 100 trans kids are getting the shit kicked out.
Maybe it wasn't relevant to the reason that he.
Yeah.
Did
It's not reason. It's not relevant. 100% it's not relevant unless he was like transitioning. He's on a bunch of hormones and it fucked up.
Left a manifesto.
There's
Got to be one. There's going to be one come up. There has to be. There always is.
And if you think about it, it's been a week. Investigations, like we just said, take time.
Yeah.
And a lot of information has come out, but there are some things I'm sure they're keeping close to the vest for whatever reason. Maybe they just haven't found out yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone was freaking out that they hadn't got into his phone yet. And even I thought that was suspicious, but they got into it the next day. Like I didn't.
Right.
We're in such a culture. We want everything right now. We want it yesterday.
True.
But in reality, things take time. And you're talking about you're looking for things. Maybe you're seeing this because you're looking for it. We do that as human beings. Like we look for patterns.
Natural.
We see a man in the moon. We look in the sky and we see a bear and we see the Little Dipper. And like, it's just a cluster of stars that we drew some lines in between. The pattern's not there. We see a man's face on Mars. Like we just look for patterns. We find patterns, whether they exist or not. We put these lines together and we connect the dots in so many different ways that may or may not be relevant. That's just what we do.
I do wonder though, like those people who could look at the stars and draw those constellations, like how bad of artists were they that they
Terrible.
saw a bear and 3 stars?
Dude, there's so many. You look at those, you're like, what the? Where do you
how
get
high
that?
were they? They were connecting those stars, going, "Oh, dude, a bear."
How is that a crab?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah,
Again, we look for shit.
yeah,
Like, and especially back then, they're bored as fuck.
yeah, absolutely. One of the other things we came across, just kind of, this is kind of one of the last things I had to talk about was the whole Austin private wealth deal. Did you hear about that?
Let me go real quick to
Okay.
one more conspiracy thing.
Hit it.
And surprisingly, AOC asked a very good question to Cheadle. She asked her about how far out their area of security, how far out their perimeter was.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said, so he used an AR-15, which has a max range of around 900 feet or something like that. And it's by far the most popular assault rifle in the country. Why would you not have a perimeter secured up to at least as far as the most popular weapon in the country
Makes
can
sense.
shoot? And she's like, oh, well.
She's an idiot and she came up with that.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Man.
Like, she asked a really good question. When I heard that, I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
She brought her A game
Good
today.
for her.
She must have got some last night. She's
Yeah,
feeling good.
dialed in.
Yeah.
Absolutely
dialed in. Yeah. I was like, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Like, if you know all these people have AR-15s, like, maybe you should cover more than 200 yards.
Well, and they were some of the clips.
Or 100 yards.
Some of the clips I saw from the Senate hearing this morning is that there had been multiple requests, and not necessarily this specific event, but multiple requests for other events for an increase in security.
Yeah.
For X amount of time, and they had all been denied.
denied.
And so they were grilling her, asking her this morning, like, how many attempts has there been? And she's like, well, I don't know until the investigation's been done. He's like, no, not about this investigation. How many prior attempts had there been done? She's like, I don't have the number. He's like, hold on. You're the head of Secret Service. You don't know how many times you've denied. You knew that was a question that was coming.
You knew that was going to be a big deal.
Well, he goes, you knew that question was coming this morning and you didn't prepare for that with the answer? And she's like, well, I just, until investigation's done, I don't handle that. And he's like,
that might speak to your level
Dude.
of preparedness
and capability.
as a director.
Yeah.
Overall. Like, Jesus Christ, lady. All right. Austin Wealth.
Austin Private Wealth, LLC. So I had to do a little bit of reading up on this because I don't understand a lot about stocks and whatnot. But do you know what a put option is?
I do, and I don't understand how. I mean, I get it, but go on, yeah.
So a put option, just to explain this for anybody listening who doesn't know, because I had no idea, and I actually had to explain it to Adam on the way in, and I hope I did an okay job. But a put option is an investment made by somebody who's kind of banking on the fact that a stock is going to fail,
Gonna lose,
or
yeah.
a company is going to fail. So it's like instead of buying in the share and hoping that it goes up, you're buying this option.
You're almost
saying that this is going to tank.
Almost borrowing it, yeah. You're not buying the stock necessarily. You're borrowing it.
It's betting. It's roulette. It's betting black instead of red. If red's going to be positive and it's going to make money, you're betting black that it's going to fail. So that's all it is, right? So it goes on to say that like put options can easily make 5 to 100 times more profits if something fails at the right timing. Well, this Austin Private Wealth LLC, they shorted 12 million shares with put option on Donald
the
Trump's
Truth Social
stock, DJT, the day before the assassination attempt. And it raised a red flag with a lot of people because, I mean, usually put options are done by insider trading stuff, but the fact that they took this short on 12 million shares the day before the assassination attempt raised a lot of red flags. And so it was just another weird thing, kind of follow the money trail type deal. Like, who would do that? Why would they do that? The listed potential impact for the reason for their shorting was significant loss for the company and DJT stock prices. And they wanted to say that if Trump were to have been assassinated, in the case of his death, the value of his media and technology company would plummet to almost zero. And so they would have made out with, I think the estimated was 690 million to just short of a B.
Yeah. Some people, of course, on Twitter are fucking exaggerating, say these people are going to make $1 trillion. You'll do anything for $1 trillion. I'm like, that company, first of all, it's losing money hand over fist to begin with. So somebody betting that it's going to lose more, that's not exactly, to your point, insider trading.
Yeah.
That's not like, I'm going out on a limb here. Like, no, it is losing money.
But here's what's weird is, so you talk about like, and I try to look at it from a bigger scope last show and said, hey, is this something that he's a narcissist and he's arrogant? He planned himself, right? We talked about the possibility of that, just being open to possibilities. Why would you, if he's up by a landslide, if he's up by if he's up by double digits in some polls, why would you the day before this convention expect you buy this amount of put options, or you expect 12 million short in shares before this one. It's almost like you knew something was going to happen.
Are you saying he? Is
No,
the
no,
one
no,
that short?
no.
Oh, gotcha.
This Austin Private Wealth.
Yeah.
Why would the timing? If you're saying his company's bleeding money and they're losing, you're going to bet they're going to lose anyway. Why would it be the day before this one?
Hey,
Been waiting.
to answer your question, I don't know.
Yeah. It's just suspect. It's a little weird.
Sometimes things do happen timing wise. Like there were some things before 9/11 that looked super sketchy, and just afterwards, I can't even remember. I wish I could remember. This happened so long ago.
The insurance policy on the building?
No, there was a couple other things like stock movements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it just turned out to be nothing. But it did look super. It was one guy that did a ton of trading, and like he didn't even make a lot of them. I can't remember what it is. I wish I had that prepared.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about that. But
So, yeah.
it could just happen. Some things, unfortunate timing happens and it looks shitty.
So the BlackRock video of the shooter, right?
I mean, come on.
Not of the shooter, of his high school.
Yeah.
Okay. So some of Austin Private Wealth's largest holdings, per their 13F filing, the Rothschild family, Vanguard, BlackRock, Meta, George Bush, and the Cheney family.
Vanguard and BlackRock, they're like
And everything.
They're
You
in
can't-
everything. I think they probably
But again-
own a piece of my soul.
but
I mean,
again,
they own everything, dude.
It's just one more piece to this that you're like, what the fuck, man? Why is this so weird? It's just one more weird piece that, okay, so maybe it's connected, maybe it's not. But the fact is, like, how many weird coincidences does it have to be before somebody goes, hey, there could be something here?
Dude, there's just weird, like, again, back to my point. When you look for patterns, you're going to find them. And there could be weird coincidences about everything. Why do you need to kill Donald Trump? You can just replace him with somebody. Like, it doesn't matter. None of these players matter. They're just cogs in the fucking machine. If it's not Donald Trump, they'll get somebody else. Like, it
So I
doesn't
mean,
matter.
you don't think the left would want to have him assassinated?
No, like, why
In
do they
any
care?
capacity?
Why do they care?
Because then they're not in
Like, it's
power.
not like the left. It's not like,
Well, I'm just,
it's not Biden.
Okay.
If you think Biden and Harris
Okay.
and these and Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are in charge, you're fucking wrong.
no, I'm saying
Yeah.
the people that are in charge on the left, not them. But to Junior's credit, to what he had said,
So
the military industrial
okay,
complex.
so let's take away the left and the right terminology. of
okay,
this. Let's
okay.
say money on this side or money on
Yes,
that side.
okay.
Where are you placing
an
your bets?
opposing monetary power that's actually in more control than our government, right? Because our government is being controlled by the powers that be that have the money that fund the country.
I think if they could easily, okay, how could I frame this? They could just wait Donald Trump out 4 years. They don't need to kill him. Like they could just, okay, we have to put we're not going to make $50 trillion in the next 4 years. We're only going to make $20 trillion. Let's wait him out. We can stall a lot of his policies in Congress and the Senate. We can stall everything. Do we really need to kill him? Probably not.
Do you believe the government had anything to do with JFK?
I'm pretty on the fence about that. Yeah.
So if they could do that there, they could have done the same thing, right?
I'm
All
not-
the powers that be.
I'm not
money-wise-
saying you're wrong. I'm just saying what I think.
I'm just just to play devil's advocate is if they could have been involved in that and you're on the fence on that, they could have just waited JFK out too. Why would they? What would make this any different?
I think number one, he is in his first term. Like it could have gone much longer. Trump, lame duck president, no matter how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't believe that they would have to have him killed at this point because there's so much money floating around everywhere at this point. Like it just doesn't matter. Like we can work our way around him.
Yeah.
We essentially control the country. Like we, the corporations, all control this.
Yeah.
Whether I'm going to support this candidate to get my shit through or I'm going to support that candidate to get my shit through, like they're just going to do it. Those tech people are, okay, let's say military industrial complex versus tech. This is totally made up, but I'm just going to use them as players, right? Let's just say the military industrial complex is all right behind Biden administration right now. You know what? It doesn't look like they're going to win. Let's kill Trump. Like, do we have to kill him? Let's just take our hundreds of millions of dollars
And go build bunkers.
and give it to Trump and say, hey, do what we want now. Because that's what Trump's doing for the tech companies right now. Because all of a sudden tech is in Trump's pocket. They're right there. Where did that come from? This came out of nowhere. So anybody could do that to any candidate.
and
they're
to-
all fucking puppets.
And to your point, just to examine the other side, the side that you're pitching is, if they wanted to take him out, why would they wait for that rally to do it? Why wouldn't they take him out at Mar-a-Lago or take him out, have a sniper take him out golfing, or he's
anywhere.
always out
Yeah,
at one of his
always.
hotels or when he's on his trip, like.
Somewhere easy.
So it would almost make you wonder, like, if that were the case and somebody was trying to take him out, like there would have to be a bigger picture. There's a reason for doing it there. Whether it's to try and unite the country under a different aspect, because I mean, look at 9/11. Like everybody banded together as a country. Everybody forgot their differences. You know what I mean? For a very short time. But like there would have to be something bigger to the picture if they were eliminating him for a reason to do it at a convention like that.
I just don't. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
In that part, if you were going to have that theory, like I get it, but I just don't see it, man. I just think it was a fucking weird kid with a gun.
Yeah.
Like he plotted out. He was looking at plotting out the Democratic National Convention. He had, who else did he have? He had several other politicians doing search history on where they're going to be at. It just wasn't Donald Trump.
He also had porn history in his browser, apparently.
Shocker. Who doesn't?
I think there was a report that said the FBI looked at his browser history and the last thing he searched was porn.
What was he looking for?
Mm-hmm. He just wanted a clear head before it all happened.
So he just fucking cleaned the pipes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. You should do that.
You want to be able to remain calm under pressure.
If you're going to make a big decision, you want to have a clear head.
Yeah.
You don't want the little man downstairs running the show.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. I mean, I would love to believe that it was just this weirdo kid. I still have concerns or am open to the idea that it could be something else. And like you said, will we ever actually know what that something else is? Probably not. It's like a lot of things. I think that it's going to get swept under the rug, or there's going to be something bigger and greater. For example, Biden stepping down already.
Yeah. To your point, saying that you're not going to find anything out, even if they come out with a very plausible, like if they gather all the facts and they have done their job to the truest they can, every conspiracy is going to say, no, I'm not buying it, because that's just the nature.
No,
the people that don't believe it aren't going to believe it. They never will.
You're absolutely right. And admittedly, I'm guilty of that oftentimes too, I'm sure.
You have a curious mind.
I do.
But to my point, like talking about these are interchangeable cogs, I mean, just look at Biden being ousted right now. Like,
dude, how crazy is that?
A sitting president, however fucking mentally ill he is, he's still a sitting president, and they fucking got him gone.
Yeah.
Gone. We don't even know if he's alive.
Do you think that he did it himself, or do you think they did it for him? The stepping down, because it was a tweet, right?
It was a letter crafted and then published on Twitter.
But it wasn't a live announcement.
No.
So
nobody's seen Joe Biden in public since Wednesday.
The conspiracy there is, do you believe that he penned that, or do you think it was written for him? Because they said this morning he's asking questions about like his engagements and when he's going to speak at all the stuff we got to worry about President Putin and World War III. And they're like, no, man, like, why are you worried about that? You're stepping down.
Well, he still does have stuff to do. He's not vacating. Yeah, he didn't resign his presidency. Yeah. He is just not accepting the party's nomination. Dude, there's so many things to talk about this. Obviously, we had the disastrous debate, right? And then immediately somebody inside of the machine gave the media the green light to say, okay, get him now.
End it.
Now you guys can do your job and report that he's not mentally fit. Everybody with a set of fucking eyes and ears for the last several years has known what the media finally started reporting after that debate. Again, who gave the green light to say, hey, it's open season on Biden? That's a good question.
Yeah.
But so you get that debate. He keeps plugging away, saying that he's not dropping out. He's not dropping out. Vehemently saying he's not dropping out. He is a very prideful, arrogant man.
Yeah.
When asked who would get him to drop out, the Almighty himself, if he came down, maybe. Yeah. Maybe God.
Maybe God. I might challenge him.
And they asked him about, and in a separate interview, I think this one was with, I can't remember. But they asked him, who do you look to when making these important decisions? Me. I look to me. He's a very arrogant man.
That might be the issue.
So when you say, did he do this? Did he step down voluntarily? Fuck no.
Yeah.
There was a couple things that came out.
That's my thoughts as well.
Nancy Pelosi got involved and was talking to people inside of his team there and like, hey, well, we have the polls that saying that he's ahead. And she said, who showed you those polls? And they're like, so-and-so, get him on the phone.
Really?
Yeah. So you get the boss coming in saying, show me the man, show me the polls. Like, we're not doing this anymore. Show me. And then the fucking steam started going. And then he's like, well, if I get sick, maybe I would consider stepping down. A couple of days later,
COVID. Weird.
I got the COVID.
Yeah.
And there's a couple reports of him having a medical emergency aboard Air Force One. There was this weird, you talk about conspiracies, underground report, people reporting in the Las Vegas police department that there was a medical emergency reported by the Secret Service. The roads need to be cleared, blah, 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 while he was in Nevada.
Really?
That's not confirmed at all. Again, that's
just random reports.
But you talk about connecting these dots. I mean, maybe that happened, maybe that didn't. But anyway, he is apparently, if you want to go by his word, has COVID, hasn't been seen in public since he got off Air Force One.
He's quarantining himself.
Quarantine's like a half a day now, right? For COVID.
He's following all the CDC guidelines.
So, but nobody has seen him in public since Wednesday the 17th. Here we sit Monday, what, the 23rd, 24th?
Yeah,
22nd, sorry. Monday. So nobody's seen him in public for 5 days. You start hearing reports that by the weekend he's going to drop out. And strategically, if you want to look at it, it makes sense that he drops out after the RNC, after they spend all of their time, effort, money going after Joe Biden.
Yep.
So it makes sense that they do it then and also before the Democratic convention. That makes sense strategically, but you start hearing it's going to be by the weekend, and sure as shit on the weekend.
Sunday night.
I've decided to step down.
Yeah.
There it is. And again, nobody, like you said, this was a letter and a tweet. Nobody has heard from Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris has had a press conference. Why has Joe Biden not addressed the country at all?
Well, and AOC did a deal saying too, because I guess the Democratic Party was saying that they weren't going to endorse Kamala.
Yeah, she did a live stream of the weekend, like
And
Friday or
it
Saturday.
was her and was it Schumer? It wasn't Schumer.
It was just her.
It was Sanders. Her and Bernie, right? They're talking about them being on the same side of like,
gotcha.
you need to endorse Kamala. Like
Yeah.
you can't. What that does, what the ramifications on the Democratic Party if they don't, what that looks like, all that stuff, right? And then you have people coming out of the woodwork saying, all these, these Dems talking about saving democracy and Trump's attacking our democracy and we need to save our democracy, but they're not going to put Kamala in who was the voted, they're not going to follow all the votes and they're just going to elect who they want. Like, what is that doing to democracy?
North Carolina overnight gave all of their delegate votes to Kamala Harris, who again, there was no primary. Nobody voted for this woman.
Yep.
At all. She's just being.
Oh, God, that cackle.
Oh, no. I can't take 4 years of that.
Oh, man.
But again, she was just appointed overnight.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. You talk about democracy being on the line. If Trump gets into office, this might be a last election ever. Did we just see the last election ever?
Yeah, we may have.
Did we see it 4 years ago? Yeah, I mean, Democrats are so outraged. They're so focused on beating Trump. And I understand all the reasons they want to, but you're really, the phrase throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing right now. You're throwing democracy out the window because you're so afraid of Trump. Like, you're losing sight of your main goal here.
Do you think she will end up being the nominated candidate?
Yes. The only person, like, as of today, as of this morning, she's
50 million fundraising.
That happened overnight.
No, I was going to say that one
50
fundraising.
million overnight. But I mean, saying that, I mean, so many donors, we talked about this, said unless Biden drops out, we're not giving you any more money. So that money was chambered and ready to fire.
Right.
So whoever got the nomination was going to get that money.
Right.
But as of this morning, she's got 31 senators, 151 representatives, and 16 governors who are endorsing her overnight. Before the convention, nothing's ever happened. North Carolina's already given her delegate votes. It's happening. She's going to be the nominee.
I didn't know all those statistics that you just threw out. I knew about the 50 million overnight. But I had a theory.
Okay.
I wanted to share it with you.
Let's hear it.
I've shared it with a couple my buddy Ben.
The look on your face
my
is
buddy
wild.
Ben who listens. It's pretty good.
Let's hear it.
So they've been calling it political theater for so long, right?
Sure.
And I've started watching this from this lens of, okay, let's pretend I'm watching a movie, or let's pretend I'm watching a scripted deal, or let's say this is like the WWE. I'm not a wrestling fan. I don't follow it.
Say it's a very poorly written movie, but WWE, it's right on par. Yeah,
that's what I said. So I'm gonna start viewing this from a lens of like, this is like wrestling, right? So my buddy Ben, who listens, I was having a conversation with him.
Shout out to Ben.
Yeah, shout out Big Ben. So Ben would tell me about wrestling. The way it would work is like they would introduce a new character, right? And they would be the heel. They would be not the villain, but they were just the guy that gets beat up on all the time. And then there would be a story arc where they evolved into the hero, and then something happens, and then they go back to being the bad guy, and then they start
like The Rock.
Then they start NWA, and now you can't tell if they're good or bad. They're kind of their own deal, and then somebody emerges from that, and they're back to being the hero. And I was like, holy shit!
Well, there's a reason.
I know who they're gonna pick.
There's the reason they write those stories. It's people love to see the rise and fall.
100%.
Yeah.
And if this is political theater and it's going to be run the same way, my thought was, I didn't think that they would pick Kamala, right? But now you have a person of color and a female. So if you're going to pick an alternate, it's got to be along those lines. Because everybody kept saying, oh, it's going to be Gavin Newsom. It's going to be Gavin Newsom. He's making more political appearances. It's going to be Gavin Newsom. He's run California into the ground and nobody likes him. And he's the whitest male, ultra
but that
male
hair,
that you
but
can.
that
But I'm
fucking
just
hair.
saying, he looks like, you know,
He looks like if you were
the
to write
quintessential Californian white male.
if you were going to cast somebody to play the devil in a movie,
Yes.
you'd pick that dude.
Yeah, it'd be Pacino and then him, right?
He's
So-
got it better than Pacino. Oh man, that's Satan. Look at that son of a bitch. He's a piece of shit.
So anyway, I thought, okay, they're not going to pick Newsom, right? If it's not going to be Kamala, it's got to be Big Mike, right? And if Big Mike's not going to run,
She said a while ago, she's like, I'm not interested.
100%. So if you can't replace a person of color and a woman unless it's one or the other. And so I thought, who was Trump's greatest nemesis, who the Dems don't have to waste a nomination on whether she wins or not.
Hillary.
And he's a convicted felon. She's a criminal. Like, that's a wash. They're going to bring in something. She is the Dems version of Trump. She's mouthy. She's bold. She's like they're anti-Republican. Like, that would be.
I think if they had their druthers, they would not pick her just because polling wise, nobody polls worse than Joe Biden except for her.
But I think at this point.
At this point, yes. But if
I
they
think
could
at
go
this
back
point-
like a year ago, they wouldn't. pick
No,
her.
no. I'm saying now that
Yeah.
Biden stepped back, I don't see Kamala getting, even though she's being endorsed by these senators and being endorsed, I don't see her getting the votes, right? But you bring in Hillary, and I think you've got this big hitter against this big hitter, and at the very least, you have a chance of getting the Democrats who, at the time, the Republicans, when Trump came in, they wanted the bold. They wanted somebody talking trash. They were tired of being run down. They were tired of us being a laughing stock of a country. We wanted somebody to come in and build us up and make America great again, right? Well, the Dems are now in that boat. They don't want Sleepy Joe. We got to battle Trump. How do we battle fire with fire? My bet was they were going to bring in Hillary.
Even progressive Democrats don't like Hillary, though. She's a very unlikable candidate. When you talk about polling and stuff, she doesn't do well. And that's all these fucking people care about, the donors. They care about who's going to win. They don't care about the person. They don't care if she's black. They
But
don't
do
care
you
if it's
think
a woman.
Kamala is going to be able to win?
Yeah.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, I don't.
Big time.
I think people think she's too big of an idiot.
Matter of fact, I'm calling her right now. She's winning.
Really?
Number one, she's infinitely younger than Trump. That's in her corner right now.
Yeah.
She can talk. I've heard her form coherent sentences. She can talk.
But
And
not,
Trump-
not the what can be undone speech?
That is the dumbest.
Wrong.
Well, that stupid line.
You're wrong.
And Trump is a horrible, horrible, horrible person at giving, like his fucking 90-minute acceptance speech at the
Yeah.
RNC. He's terrible at speaking.
Yeah.
He is just terrible. I don't care how much you like him. He is not a good speaker.
Yeah.
He is not good in debates. The only thing he had going for him in debates is he would trash talk. But now that thing's off the table where they're muting mics and no
Yeah.
crowd, that's gone.
That hurts him.
He was really the only person worse in that debate than Trump was Biden.
Yeah.
If there's a third candidate, that person would have beat him just by standing there and looking at the two of them.
I was surprised at how much of the questions he didn't answer. Like, they would ask him a question, and all he would do is go back to the question before. Every single time they'd ask him a question, and he'd just go back to the question before. So every question he was asked was just a response to the question previous to that.
Some of that he did every now and then, and I thought that was smart. I was like, okay, if you feel that something,
using your time wisely, sure.
you can go back, but he is not a good debater.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris will form coherent sentences for the most part, which Trump won't.
Yeah.
She's infinitely younger. And look at last time. With Democrats are going to vote Democrat no matter who's up there for the most part, right? Republicans right now, that's what they're going to do. And Joe Biden won the popular vote last time. Kamala Harris is going to win. It's going to fucking wipe the floor with them.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Well, and
She just kind of stopped laughing.
and they talk about, like, it's crazy that the president that won the popular vote by so much is backing out of the race. The most beloved president in history, according to votes.
Well, dude, they didn't beloved Biden. They hated Trump.
No.
They didn't love Biden. Actually, everybody on the news right now and all these politicians that are just glazing Biden is fucking sickening. Van Jones, that fucking pussy. If you're listening, Van, you fucking pussy. Every time he gets on the news, he's crying. He was crying over how much he loves
again?
Joe Biden this morning.
Oh, my God.
The man, he's such a patriot, what he did for this country. Joe Biden didn't step aside because it was right for the country. Joe Biden got fucking kicked out on his ear.
Yeah, he got rolled.
He got rolled. He fucking got
Rachel Maddow, I linked it.
her too.
Who Rachel Maddow was on there too.
You know who
Her
Rachel
talking about
Maddow is?
What a patriot. What a
I saw that thing. You know what she reminded me of? Remember the Wonder Years?
Yeah.
Paul, his best friend. I was looking at her like, dude, she looks so familiar. It's Paul.
Dude, that is.
It's Rachel Maddow.
Hey, anybody who watches this, we'll do a side-by-side.
Damn, that's
Paul
good.
next to Rachel Maddow.
Either that or Where's Waldo?
God, that's awesome.
One of the
yeah.
two.
Put Rachel Maddow in.
But yeah, I saw that where she was just fucking glazing him up too. What a true patriot. He
Yeah.
did the
Give me a
most
break,
noble
man.
thing by stepping. He didn't step aside. If
Yeah,
you think
he was forced out.
if you think that egomaniac, he's got every bit of ego that Trump does.
Yeah.
If you think he stepped aside, you're fucking crazy. Dude, there's so many, like, I don't even know where to go about how crazy this is that they just fucking backdoored him and got him out overnight. It's just wild.
So just for record, you think Kamala is going to be the candidate and you think she's going to win?
Monday, July 22nd, 1300 hours. I believe that Kamala Harris is going to be the candidate and she will win.
God help us.
Again, if you think Trump's going to make things better,
No,
for you,
right.
no, I'm talking to everybody out there,
Yeah.
not you. If you think Trump's going to make your life better, if you think Kamala's going to make your life better, you're all fucking crazy. These are all just interchangeable parts. Like, look at who they're being backed by.
Yeah.
That's who's pulling the strings. Like, Kamala's not getting out there and doing anything that she's not told to. Trump's not getting out there and doing anything that he's not allowed to do. All of a sudden, he's just sucking up to Wall Street. Like, he ran on fucking emptying the swamp last night, draining the swamp last time. We're getting rid of all this. Like, he's doing everything the exact opposite of what he said he was going to do last time.
Yeah.
He's going to talk a big game like, hey, we're going to build a wall. And all these fucking retards are going to say, yep, that's what's going to fix my life is building the wall.
Well, and there's a lot of people in the conspiracy realm that are starting to talk now saying that, you know, the quote unquote, they got to Trump and that he's not running on the same candidacy platform that he did last time and that he's different. It's going to be different.
Different in what way?
Just he's not going. He's part of the machine. He's not.
He totally
He's
is.
not anti-machine like he was last time. And so there's a lot of people.
First of all, he always was.
Well, right, 100%.
But he ran on something different.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're saying now that people are getting played by their emotions, the emotional side of the whole Trump presidency and what he did last time. But it's not the same. It's not going to be the same deal. So they're saying, hey, wake up. This is just two heads of the same snake. Like
Absolutely
it's no
it is.
different.
And again, like all of a sudden, he's got all these Wall Street people cozying up to him.
Yeah.
He's got big tech people that are cozying up to him. Like all of a sudden, Silicon Valley is behind Trump. Really? The big liberal hive of Silicon Valley is now backing Trump?
Yeah.
Really? Come on.
Well, he's got Elon's backing.
$45 million a month,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
that's insane.
Just a little bit of that, Elon. A little bit.
Share the love.
Shit, like seriously, $45 million a month. But to what we were saying is,
Yeah.
he's part of the machine. They all are. None of them are gonna. I'm so frustrated by this. Like none of them are gonna go in and just do everything that you want them to do. They're gonna talk the big game. They're gonna play on your emotions, to your point.
Yep.
And they're gonna try and get your vote. Nothing is gonna change. Like
I still believe we're going to see Hillary.
I'm not saying she won't try to make a run at it because that woman wants it.
Mm-hmm.
She wants it. I just don't think she has the backing of the party.
Yeah, that's
And that's who you need.
That's true. Yeah,
The backing of the party, number one, the leadership in there, and then you also need the donors.
yeah.
I don't think she has that at the moment because the donors, who are they going to back? Who can win? That's all they care about.
Yeah, it's true.
Who's going to win and who's going to do what I want them to do?
Very true.
If I'm running tomorrow and I'm
And
saying,
that sounds like Kamala because I think Hillary's got her own agenda too. I mean, she's probably going to be less controlled than Kamala.
I don't know, man. She might not be controlled by the people that want to control her.
Yes.
But yeah, she's pretty cool at taking a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How much does she get paid to talk?
I don't even remember.
I know
it's stupid.
I had no idea she was such a great orator that people would pay, $10 million to hear her speak or whatever.
I wonder if she got paid that to do that Between the Ferns with Zach Galifianakis.
That was funny.
That was pretty awesome.
I'll give her this. Like she's got at least it seemed like she had a decent sense of humor.
200,000 a pop to speak.
She's got to be so good. Like
God.
we're talking, Martin Luther King.
I'd be happy getting paid $2 to speak.
$2?
Yeah, man.
I wouldn't do it for $2.
I would.
You got to give me at least if
Something.
I'm gonna go somewhere, like I'm gonna get dressed up and I have to go talk to a bunch of people.
Well, you got to pay for my travel and pay for my hotel, but I'll do it for $2.
$2?
I'll do it for dinner.
Dinner.
Yeah. You pay for my hotel and my flight and dinner?
But you won't suck Jeff Bezos' dick for
Not a
fucking
chance.
$100 billion. You're so
Not a
full of
chance.
shit.
Not a chance.
Oh, anyway, man. Yeah, that's where we're at in the world. Like, how far are we into the show, Adam?
About an hour.
Hour? Okay, cool. Perfect. So
yeah, wild, man. It's going to be crazy to see what the next week holds. And again, like, I just hope that, and to your credit, to your point, we may get all the evidence that we need to say, hey, this was a lone gun and this kid acted alone. Are there going to be people who always think that there was more than that? Absolutely. I may be one of those people. I just hope it doesn't just go away, because now
that would be my fear.
Now the presidential election, and then who comes out, and it ends up being like the Epstein list. Like, oh my God, it's this huge buzz. You're going to find out everything. And we released 12 names that nobody knows, and you don't hear anything else ever again.
That would be my fear, that again, the news cycle and just where we're at right now, like a presidential election's coming up and it's consequential.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of people, and that's another reason too why people wanted Biden out. There's so many downstream elections that are affected by him being in office. Like, all these people just kind of rallied behind and said, like, he's got to go because I'm going to lose my Senate seat. I'm going to lose my congressional seat. Like, we need to get him out, because if I'm backing Biden, I'm going to look weak. No one's going to want to vote for me for this reason or that reason. So he's got to go. So yeah,
it's just crazy how long the lie went on. There's so many people watching him implode, and everybody covered for him, saying, KJP, this is the best Biden we've seen yet. Or all these people talking about how mentally he's sharpest one in the room. He's sharper than he's ever been. And then, like you said, the whole Clooney thing, they run the fundraiser for him, and 2 weeks later they say, he's not fit. Like, come on, man. Like, all it does is make your party look. They're all liars. They're all liars. We all know that, right? But it makes your party look bad.
I think one of the biggest knocks against Kamala going forward will be, how much did you cover up about Biden?
Yeah.
Like, that could be a real big thing. Like, because obviously, again, anybody with eyes and ears saw that this was a big decline. It didn't happen.
You're the VP.
It didn't happen.
You got some inside info.
Yep.
Yeah.
You see this man all the time. What did you know? When did you know it? Why didn't you say anything? And if you're willing to cover that up, what else are you willing to cover up? There were things she covered up when she was a district attorney. Like, I mean, they could bring that record up. Her record as a DA in California. I mean, there's a lot of things.
Her time as arm candy for Montel Williams.
Man, Montel, like you said, he had that other fucking hot girl with him too.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Montel?
I don't know. He had his talk show and then he went away.
He got sick, right?
He was doing was it like Tommy Copper, or what was he? He was on infomercials for a while.
Was he?
Yeah, I don't remember. Well, maybe it wasn't Tommy Copper. Why does he look like a Shaolin monk right there?
Maybe that's what he's doing.
Teach Kung Fu?
Maybe that's what he's doing now. Teaching Kung Fu.
But yeah, I don't know, man. And like you're saying, like, so if she saw something and didn't say something, but I wonder too, like, what if she did try speaking up and, the powers that be are like, hey, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
If she were
it's not time to bring that up.
If she were to come out and say that, I think
she would have a better chance.
No. Oh, well, yes, number one. And I also think that she would get a hatchet job.
Yeah.
Like, you said what? Or like, I'm going to make up a name. Nancy Pelosi said, I can't say anything. Chuck Schumer told me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Larry Fink, head of BlackRock, told me, don't say a fucking word. Like, what?
Yeah.
We got to kill her.
She would disappear. Yeah, she'd be gone.
Now, that's room for an assassination right there.
She'd be red scarfed.
All right, man. So I think the last thing I got, just a couple little blurbs here. Microsoft decided they were going to remove their DEI department. Which is kind of weird because Microsoft's a pretty woke company. But yeah, they said we're done with it. We don't need that shit anymore.
Dude, what do you think about that outage?
Outage? Well, yeah, that was the next thing I was going to go to is the CrowdStrike outage.
Yeah.
They say it wasn't a hack, but a software thing. But in the subsequent hours after the outage, because of the software malfunction, there were hacks because, shields are down.
Yeah, because everything was down.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big fucking deal.
Kind of like a Trojan horse deal. Like, make it look like it wasn't a hack, but it turns into a hack.
Yeah. So, I mean,
because they were saying that they reported it in Europe like 2 days prior to it hitting us. It was a worldwide deal.
Yeah. Well, there's who uses it? Microsoft uses it, which every fucking government in the world uses Microsoft. Yeah. Like our city uses 911 was down here.
Yeah.
Just our telestaff trying to sign up for overtime. I couldn't sign up.
All of our,
City of Portland declared an emergency, like because their shit was down. Like it affected a lot of things. So, I mean, something to keep an eye on. I think
that's pretty wild.
I don't know enough about that world to intelligently comment on it.
Yeah.
Or even semi-intelligently. It seems like that's a big fucking problem where you have just this one company that's
everybody's on
everything.
one. Yeah.
Everybody
uses Office.
Everybody? Yeah. It's a problem,
There's
dude.
no other.
And I guess they protect things through the cloud. That's kind of their thing. Like everybody's using
look at all these celebrities whose clouds get hacked and all their nudes get leaked.
All the
like,
time.
don't you know not to use the cloud anymore? Like, we gotta figure something else out.
That's a known thing. Also, I wonder, like, all those nudes that got released a long time ago. What?
Southwest
Oh,
Airlines.
the Southwest, yeah. Yeah, because we're running on Office 03
Commodore
or something.
64.
Yeah. Look who's coming out smelling like roses
That's
now.
funny, dude. Oh, that's good.
The airlines that got grounded, like thousands and thousands of flights.
I think I had seen it, but I think you sent it to me. The aerial picture of the radar picture of all the flights prior to the crash, and then the crash happened and the dwindling of all the flights. Did you send it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I'll send it to you. It was pretty interesting. It was like the real time.
Did it look like after 9/11?
Yeah. I mean, it went down to like
Just
almost
everything went dark.
nothing. Yeah, it was.
That's crazy, man. Only things flying Southwest.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right here. Time lapse shows planes during the outage.
Wow.
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's so pretty significant. I mean, I wonder how many companies are going to change their policy moving forward. Again, like you talk about conspiracy, like sometimes shit happens.
Yeah.
Like we had a bad plan going in. Like, okay, now let's readjust. Let's see how many of these companies actually readjust and say, like, okay, we can't be solely reliant on that.
Yeah.
Wait, this is the one linchpin in our 911 system?
We need to start a company right now doing all of that and sell it.
Dude, I can barely operate my fucking computer.
Well, outsource.
Okay.
Get a Chat GPT to do it for you.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
What can we start?
Write me the coding.
Yeah, coding. I know nothing about that. Too old to code.
I got a reaction video for you real quick. So remember how we talked about the new slang?
New slang.
With the kids.
Yep.
Skibbity, Ohio, and
All that
Riz,
bullshit,
and Gyat. So this isn't quite that level, but this was like the wave of slang right before that. And this is a bunch of adults in a courtroom. I saw this and I thought this was hilarious.
Is this the one where the guy's trying the case, speaking all this?
He's like, no cap.
Yeah, this is funny. Yeah,
I didn't know if you had seen this.
This is funny.
That's cap, Your Honor. It's giving leading question.
Take several seats, Mr. Simpson. You'll have your chance to clap back.
This ain't it, Chief.
So the night your girlfriend went missing, you hosted a positively pushin', pee-bussin' party.
Period.
Period.
Mr. Simpson, POV when it's your turn to clap back.
I just
judge
have
cracks me
one
up.
problem with Mr. Jennings' statement here. You see, Mr. Jennings, when under oath less than a month ago, you said that this party was straight up chuggy.
What?
Cap, you're just the CEO
Cap.
of lying on the stand.
Nah, fam.
So then this party can't hold this L?
On God.
Dead ass.
Objection, Your Honor. Stop pressing, my boy.
You're being a bit crazy.
Stop pressing my
Leave
boy.
the words to the aside.
That's how I keep big facts.
It's a little bit salty. Big.
Now, Mr. Jennings, would you agree that you have drip?
Oh, he's definitely vibing.
That feeling when you done glowed up?
That's fact.
Well, Mr. Jennings, I'm just curious, and ladies and gentlemen, please don't let this flop.
He's giving main character energy.
Mr. Jennings, why'd you switch up?
I didn't switch up.
That's cap, and you know it.
I'm a whole ass move.
Go off, King.
This is sending me.
Mr. Simpson.
Go off, King.
You're giving extra.
I was at this party, and when you arrived, you were shook. You were tossing shade all over the place, because within minutes, you yeeted right out of that party. Yeah, yeet, yeah.
He's a snack.
Cap, I don't even know how to use
I like, you'll have your turn to clap back.
This ain't it. Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, yeah, I saw it a while ago. It's funny as hell, man.
All right, man.
What
That's
do we
all
got,
I got. You got anything?
I got nothing, man.
It'll be interesting to see what the next 7 days hold.
Dude, it'll be something.
Always is.
When does the DNC start? It's in August, right? August, what? Adam, can you find that? August 12th.
Yeah,
August
22nd.
22nd? Oh, 19th through the 22nd.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, man, a whole month after theirs?
That's wild.
5 weeks, man. They got time to get their game plan.
They're scrambling. Nah, maybe not. I think it's all planned. I don't think they're scrambling as much as everybody thinks they are.
It's Kamala. They wouldn't have made this move if they were going to have to scramble.
100%.
They know what they're doing. This isn't their this might be their first time ousting a sitting president.
Sure.
But they know what they're doing.
They've had it in their playbook for a while.
Yeah, man. All right.
Yeah. Ready?
Like, yeah, let's fucking do it, man.
Fireside.
Fireside! Fuck yeah! Get some!
I still want the Wayne's World like graphic. Yeah, we need to
find
figure
it.
out how to
We
do
can
that.
find it. So I just got 4 of them. One of them we definitely have to do, and we can do it at the very end. But the first one is just some good fire footage. The second one is a ladder explosion. This
Ladder
is that Shane
explosion?
Neckel photography. We've had a couple of his. He had the one of the shutter speed match, the helicopter rotor blades.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So this is just a good one of a good house fire.
That is a good fight.
They actually have hose lines in place. Everybody's got their masks on. This guy takes the door. It's pretty good. I've been reading more and more of the like the good dudes put out and all the different sites we follow, and search culture is kind of a, I mean, it's always been a big deal, but there's a lot of people back and forth on that right now.
Why can you not search with proper fucking precautions in place?
I don't know.
And no, when I say precautions in place, I'm not saying be a pussy and fucking don't do your job and like hit hard from the yard. I'm not saying that. I like going inside of a
mask.
I recognize that this is a dangerous
Gloves.
job. I'm cool with it. Yeah. But yeah, have your basic shit on. Like I still want to come home and see my wife.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, this is just a rolling house fire. Rolling.
Where's this at?
I think this was in Jersey, maybe. Detroit, man. Yeah. They always get good.
They get some good fires. They probably don't get paid well.
I don't know. Cost of living is probably cheaper.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
So anyway,
Detroit Fire, chime in. Tell me what you get paid.
Yeah, holla.
Salary estimates 58 to 79. That's not what I make.
Let's say it's not too different than here.
Yeah. Well, the other one says 38 starting.
Yeah, it's probably Academy.
Who knows?
All
yeah,
right.
maybe that's Academy. And then when
So anyway, that was good fire footage, and then I had one. I don't know if I showed you it. The clear of overhead obstructions. Have you seen this? So remember, hold on, before you play it, Adam. Do you remember the one that we had a couple weeks ago where the dude was trying to throw the straight ladder in the front yard, and it was kicking his ass. And like the longer you watch, the more funny shit happened.
Yeah.
So this is one of a dude throws up an extension ladder, and then him and his buddy try to pull it down. It was pretty awesome. They just drop it. Except for that's a power line.
Oh shit!
And now it's running current through the ladder, and look at the base of the ladder.
The ladder on fire because the ladder's metal.
Catches the ground.
They just put electricity into the ladder.
So now it's right next to the building.
Oh my god!
It catches the grass and the side of the building on fire. But if you watch it, when they go to pull it down, they just kind of just do it on purpose.
Yeah,
like
they
he
let
just
it
grab
fall.
it and just tips it and lets it go.
Let it go, buddy.
Zap.
Oh, that's so bad.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, so I had that last time. I thought that was pretty funny.
That sucks. That's just unfortunate. That might be their like SOP. Like, hey, if you got room, just let it collapse.
Don't mess with
like
it.
you said, it looked like they did it on purpose.
So the last one I want to show you is the ladder explosion. Tell me what you think about this.
I don't know why you do that when you could bring it down in a controlled manner. What the fuck?
How crazy is that?
What
dude?
happened? They hit an IED?
Dude. So
Is this Baghdad?
So I was watching this and I had to start looking through to see if I could find this.
Damn.
I was so impressed. And then I found out it was like season 2 of 911.
God damn it.
But I found it ahead of time. And I'm like, those motherfuckers, you're not getting me this time.
Knock it off.
But dude, how impressive is that? That's still pretty cool. That's some Michael Bay shit.
That's less cool.
Anyway.
Like, God damn, that was cool. But not real.
I almost got sucked in.
Fuck you, Chicago Fire.
Yeah,
and all that
911.
shit.
Yeah.
All right, man.
That's it.
I plead every week for you to send us some stories. If you got a cool story, a video, just send it, man. Contact at thefiresideShow.com. Go to the contact page. You can email us, contact@thefiresideShow.com. You can call us, leave a message. Tell me to get fucked. Tell me something cool. Just fucking do it. Send it.
Call them and tell them that. That'd be awesome. We'll play it on the show.
Don't, that's mean.
I might call them and do it.
Don't hurt my feelings.
That's it, dude. 30 in the books.
All right, man. That's a wrap.
30 shows.
Let's see what crazy shit happens between now and next week.
Yeah, we'll try and get Junior on next week, maybe.
Next week, should.
Remote?
Technical difficulties. This week, yeah, he's up in Alaska.
Yeah.
So we'll get him in.
All right, that's it. Episode
right.
30. See you guys next time.
Adam, I had you mic'd up. You didn't even chime in
Yeah, not once.
this whole time.
Go fuck yourself.
There it is.
Got it.
All right.
Got him.
Next time, everybody.
Later.
See ya.